and being productive and living my life. It does not have to be a death sentence. And if you're out there dealing with it, take it on and live your life. It can't be beat.
Amen to that. Let's go out to Virginia and say hello to Mary Wainwright. She joins us. Good evening, Mary. You're on the phone with Kirk Nurmi.
And Mr. Nurmi, I have almost taking on.
I'm sorry, Jordan. I'm having trouble hearing Mary.
A difficult case.
Okay,
Jordan, I'm
Mary,
having trouble hearing. She's cutting in and out.
Okay, let's see if we hear her now.
Okay.
Mary,
do you hear me now?
Do you hear her?
Can you hear me now?
I heard that sentence, but it's still a little broken up. So hopefully we can get your question answered, Mary.
I wanted to make a comment to hear it.
Okay, we'll come back to Mary. Back to Mary. We'll come back to we'll come back to Mary. And in the meantime, let's go out to the area code is 508. Please state your name and shut your radio app or computer, mute them all. You're live on King Jordan Radio with Kirk Nurmi. 508 is the area code. Please state your name.
Hi. My name's Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle from Boston. Michelle. Hi, Mr. Nurmi. I had a couple of questions, and one of them was already answered. I understand that she is not right in the head, okay? That's quite obvious. But with everything that she did, obviously what she did to Travis, what she did to her family, what she did to his family, what she did to her defense team, it seems to me she knew then, and she still knows now exactly what she's doing. So my question is, do you believe, besides any mental illness or that she was sexually abused when she was younger, do you believe that she's truly evil and that's what allowed her to do what she did to Travis and what allows her to continue to do what she does? Do you believe she's truly evil?
Well, this is one of those situations in which I have to be careful because as her attorney or as her former attorney, I owe some ethical duties to her, and she has a appeal pending. So,
right.
Unfortunately, I have to apologize, but that's a question I can't answer.
I completely understand that. Like I said, there was another question I had that was answered through somebody else, so thank you for your time.
All right. Well, thank you for your question, and have a good night.
Be well. Bye-bye.
Let me ask you that question another way, Nurmi, Mr. Nurmi. Do you think people are born, and we won't talk about Jodi, we'll talk about, just say, the Menendez brothers do you think people are born like that, or do you think it's the way they are raised in terms of being murderers? We won't talk about Jodi.
Yeah, I think that is probably one of the most difficult questions because, in a scary answer, it gets a little minority reportish, doesn't it? The idea that we could perhaps, brain scan a 2-year-old and just determine if they have some sort of illness that will cause criminality in the future, right? That's kind of not the system.
If you ever see some of these Dateline
that's
episodes,
kind of what your question implies, right?
They look like the most normal people. Some of these people who commit these heinous crimes, and all for all for the insurance, basically, and they're average city Joes, if you will, and they don't look like they would be ever part or involved in a murder, and then all the pieces are put together, and in fact they are. So
yeah, well,
maybe
well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe money drives them to kill. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's something that Dr. Phil needs to answer.
Well, I would say this. I think the traumas that we have as a child that have been shown, and I can cite a specific study off the top of my head at this point in the evening, but studies have shown that childhood trauma can ultimately affect the brain chemistry, the way the brain works. And I think that for a majority of the people that the issue relates, in terms of criminality, the issue relates to childhood trauma. Because you bring up the idea that, well, okay, for example, killing for insurance money. Okay, well, there are all of us, I guess, could do that, right? I mean, but most of us, 99.999% of us, would choose not to do that because of our mental structure, our moral structure, and how we would feel about that. There are the small percentage of individuals that would choose a different course because their brain function, in my mind, their brain functions differently, and they don't have those inhibitors. I mean, I think one way to look at it might be, for us, for you and I, in terms of killing someone for insurance money, we would never do that. We wouldn't think that's right. We wouldn't feel that's appropriate.
Right.
We wouldn't be able to live with ourselves. But in the same way, maybe,
knowing what I know, knowing what I know about jail.
Yeah, but we might get loose-lipped when we have alcohol in our mouth and finally tell the person at the cubicle next to us what we really think, right? And that's kind of that inhibitor mechanism that I think the people that suffer brain damage to childhood trauma don't have. And they can act and justify their actions because of those traumas and because of how their brain functions differently.
Absolutely. Okay, please mute your radio, computer, app, anything that you're listening to on iTunes. Let's go out to area code 630. Please state your name and where you're calling from. You're live with L. Kirk Nurmi, 630. You're live. You're next.
Hi, my name is Tina, and I'm from Illinois.
Good evening, Tina. How are you?
Hi. Very well, thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. I have a few questions, but first of all, I'd like to ask you, why didn't her family testify on her behalf and, at the very least, speak up during her sentencing hearing?
Well, that'll be something I'll talk about in my next book.
Okay. So you're going to leave us hanging on?
I'm going to leave you hanging on a little bit. Yes, indeed.
Okay. And one other question. Did you ever try to stop Jodi from going on to social media or tweeting or anything of that effect? I mean, and what was her response? And all the interviews and everything that she did?
Well, let me say this. I'm not going to answer it as it relates to Jodi because, again, that gets into one of those areas of attorney-client privilege, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But let me just say this, in generally speaking, a criminal defense attorney does not want their client opening their mouth at any point in time once the allegation has been made.
Right. So my question to you would be, what did you, suggest or say to her to try and get her to not do it, and she continually did?
That's where you're getting an attorney-client privilege. That's why I say I can't address it specifically to Jodi, but I will make the blanket statement that a defense attorney wants their client making no comments either to police officers or in any sort of public forum.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I completely understand that. I just, kind of thought I'd get maybe a little bit of resolution for some of the people that have had those kind of questions for a little bit now. So.
Yeah. Well, I think if you listen back again, I think you get a pretty good idea of what my position would be. So.
Okay. And you know what? One other question is, from the onset, there was some things that Jodi had stated in her, well, let's put it this way, that she denied. And then it came out at the end when she sat up on the stand and she said that she did slit his throat. And I about, my jaw probably almost hit the floor when she did admit that. Were you aware she was going to make that statement, or was
again,
it
again, we're getting in a lot of your questions. I know that you're curious, but you have to understand in the tightrope I walk in terms of attorney-client confidentiality and privilege. So that's a question I can't answer due to privilege.
Okay. All righty, gentlemen. Well, those are the questions I had, so I appreciate talking to you, and I wish you the best of health.
Thank you.
You take care, folks. Good night.
Bye now.
Have a good one. Okay, let's try Mary again.
How about one more caller, Jordan? Let's get Mary in.
Okay, one more. We have two more. Can we try taking these two?
All right, two more. All right, that's it. Yep.
Okay. Let's go out to 856. Please mute all your things, and then let's say hello to 856. Tell me where you're calling from and your name. You're live with Kirk Nurmi.
I'm calling from New Jersey, and I just had a question on when the trial was being done and all the, representation from the prosecutor was being presented. Does that take you back at all as the defense? Because I know you said that the defense, it was given to you. But how do you feel as a defense coming into such a situation, even though you didn't ask for it, and then you have to defend it? That's my question.
Well, I'm trying to parse out your question here because I'm not sure I understand exactly what you're asking me. But I will say this: the ultimate reality is that when a client offers a story, and I'm not just talking about Miss Arias. I give an example in my book of a hypothetical defendant who's accused of some things. Excuse me?
No, I'm talking about specifically, on the case with Jodi, and that you didn't want to take it, and how you stuck with it, but also, how you felt.
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
Okay, let's move on to, let's see if Mary is with us. Mary, can we hear you now?
Can you guys hear me now?
I can.
Yes.
Thank you, Mary.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Good evening. Nice to be able to get up with you, Mr. Nurmi. And
thank you, Mary.
I know that I just wanted to say, journey and battle with, I think if you survive 5 years of this trial. And I have a question, and
okay.
What I wanted to say is couples, boyfriends that kill girls, boyfriends, husbands, wives, jealousy, rage, shooting times. What do you think is one of the reasons that this case, the infamy level that it did?
Why do I think it took on the life that it did? Is that what you said? Is that what the question was?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's like a trial that will always be
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple, and you were breaking up again a little bit, Mary. But first of all, thank you for your kind words about my health. I appreciate the wishes. As far as, and this is probably a great kind of